Thank you, Richard. So I think the way that we're going to do this is Richard, one thing you didn't say is District 12 first and then County Judge second, correct?
Yeah, that's in order.
Okay, all right. So if I can have the District 12.
So, as you said, we're going to alternate the questions.
Yes. So we'll have our District 12 candidates first for state rep. And so we'll ask the first question in ballot order, and then we'll flip-flop as we go through the questions. The candidates, so one thing I think is important for everybody to know, the candidates have not seen these questions. They don't know what questions are going to be asked. It could be assumed they would know in general what you should be asked if you're running for office, but they haven't seen these, and I haven't either. Richard gave them to me earlier today, and I folded them up and put them in my pocket, and so we'll all learn them at the same time. It'll be fun, right?
Always
Right?
fun.
Okay. Good to meet you, Mr. Purcell. Mr. Bias, good to meet you. All right. And let's get started. And Mr. Bias, you're first on the ballot. Am I correct about that? Okay, so you will get the first question. Question number 1, would you support using state resources to try to stop illegal immigration, including use of force if necessary, and build a wall?
Well, the simple answer to that is yes. And I was meeting with our U.S. Congressman Sessions the other evening. I believe that Texas is being invaded. And I believe that our Congress should give Texas the right to defend Texas. And I'm going to work on a bill that would prohibit the federal government from charging our law enforcement people with trespassing when they try to apprehend illegal border crossers. I believe that Texas does have the right of self-defense, and it needs to be codified in the law. And I believe that our law enforcement officials ought to be safe and not abused.
Thank you, Mr. Bias.
Same question?
Yes, sir, same question.
Oh, good evening. It's good to be in Walker County. The answer is yes. And since 2013, I have had the honor and privilege to support that. We started with $800 million in 13. We increased that. We got a new president and things got a little better and we got a little help. Obviously, we don't have any help. So this last session, we added $3 billion. But those men and women need the technology, the resources to protect our border. It is paramount that Texas is safe, and we're spending our own time and money. And your legislature has stood strong, both bodies and the governor, to protect our border, and will continue to do that because Texas is the greatest state in the union.
Thank you, sir. You can.
I'm gonna stay.
Okay, all right. Question number 2. Do you believe that refugee and immigrant resettlement in the state of Texas puts us and our communities at risk in terms of safety and security?
Yes, another straight up and down question. We've got security issues. We talked about the border in the first question. Now we've got people coming in that we don't know. We've got more people moving to Texas. You know, in all seriousness, we've got people coming from every angle because Texas is the greatest place to be, to live. You have the greatest opportunity to succeed and be free. This state and this legislature over the past 5 sessions have led and governed like nobody else in this union. And Texas is the last great hope. So we've got people coming from everywhere. The problem with having all our troops on the border is that leaves a line of defense here that we are broken. Our sheriffs and our municipal police don't have that backup of DPS, and we've got to rectify that. So no, we do not need to make this a safe haven for any more.
We face a very serious problem when the federal government lets people come in and then transports them to the communities and drop them off in buses wherever. And if you'll speak to any people that work on the border, these people are not just coming from Mexico and Central America. These people are coming from all over the world, unvetted, being dispersed in our nation. And ladies and gentlemen, I campaigned 20-something years ago on securing this border. And I don't believe there's been enough done yet. And I believe it's $2.8 billion, not 3, that's been spent. What's a couple of $100 million? That's a joke. So the point being, Texas won a lawsuit against the United States of America back in the 80s that said we were being denied a Republican form of government, that we were being taxed without representation for this very thing. And I believe there's been way too little, way too late, and I'm working with State Representative Ben Lamont to pass a bill that would make it certain that if you come into Texas and you don't cross through a border checkpoint, that you will have committed a felony. And then the Texas Lone Star program that our TDC participates in, last I checked, we had 6,000 vacant beds in TDC. And we can house a lot of these folks and help solve the problem, but that's not enough. And we're going to have to work with our new congressman to get things done. And thank you. That's my answer. That wasn't stop, that was,
That was 30 more seconds you wanted?
no, I've
Okay.
saved the rest of my
All
time.
right, fair enough. Okay, question number 3. Despite school choice being a Republican legislative priority for the past decade, Texas does not have school choice. Why, and what is your position on school choice? Mr. Bice?
COVID has taught us one thing, that our public schools are in serious jeopardy. And I believe I've met with superintendents and teachers all across this district and throughout the state. We're going to have more school choice. What does that mean? That means that children won't be trapped in failing schools, mostly in the urban areas. In the rural areas, we have some school choice, but my plan is this, is to improve public education. If we will stop the state and federal unfunded mandates that rob our teachers of their time, our administrators of their time, not only at the school level, but at the county level and city level. I did a research report years ago at my own expense to determine how much time was being taken away from education by state and federal unfunded mandates. It's over 2 hours. It's closer to 3. And I can tell you this, if you multiply half a day's loss times every teacher in Texas, that's the largest waste of government money there is. So I want to return to teachers the right to teach. We did research. The Florida law on teachers' authority to control the classroom is 1.25 pages long. In Texas, it's 167 pages long. We're facing a teacher shortage and teacher crisis. And part of it is COVID, but part of it is these folks from Washington and Austin who never met an idea that they didn't like as long as you paid for it. And so I'm going to restore some business principles, and I believe that we can make public education competitive. And when we give parents control and teachers control of the classroom, things will get better in a hurry.
School choice. How are we defining that? I would argue 2 ways. Right now you have choice. You have a school choice, private, charter schools, homeschool. But is that enough? There are failing public schools in my old district, had 2, Marlin and Hearn. Where do those kids go? How do we fix that? Does the money follow the student? It's a great idea. How do we do that without disabling our private schools? Because once the state-funded money comes to the private school, is that a private school anymore? Do they have to follow the same rules and regulations as our public schools? As a member of the legislature, we have 2 jobs: a balanced budget and provide the best public education we can. But school choice is the hot topic. It will be a very robust debate, and we're going to have to find a way to answer that question, how parents get what they want and students have the ability to succeed no matter what economic impact has impacted their life and their situation. But we've got to provide education because it's a lot cheaper to educate them than to incarcerate them.
Okay, question number 4. Would you support financial assistance from the legislature to offset the loss of taxes due to state-owned land in Walker County?
We can repeat it one more time. I think I got it.
Yes. Would you support, I'll let you read it.
That's what I thought you said. The answer is yes. You know, the first day that I came into Walker County as a candidate, Walker County, I saw how unique you were. You have a state university, state forest, federal forest, and a prison system. And we're all concerned about our property taxes. And on that note, thank you for your 85% or 84, whatever it was, passage of the 2 constitutional amendments on Saturday. That's going to be huge in protecting our property taxes and reducing them. So well done. Now, Walker County, you're in a unique situation. You have a lot of land tied up. We've got to find a way. And since I've walked into Walker County, visited with folks, visited with your commissioners, your former judge, your current judge, and your city council, and the university, we have been studying, and I am finding and looking for ways to alleviate that problem here in Walker County, because this is a unique situation.
Well, as you all know, I've lived that situation for my entire adult life, and I'm very sensitive to the fact that we have a low tax base, property tax base, and we have an over-reliance on property tax. This is not unique to Huntsville in this district, Texas A&M and College Station. We were discussing it with the mayor in College Station the other day. Texas A&M is a very large state institution and brings a lot of people there. And so it's a common problem where you have state and federal lands and a high government employment base. The solution, in my mind, is manyfold. I worked with Lois Cocorst a number of years ago. She was gracious enough to loan Chris Steinbeck to us, and we had some important work going on at the time through the Department of Agriculture, where Huntsville's also so strange that a lot of our people are incarcerated. But did you know that they're on our population statistics? We have a large retirement community, and we're glad of that. But they don't have what are called disposable income. And much of the problem lies in the statistics and the what's called Tiger data under the census. That's one area that we can fix fairly easily and fairly soon. The other thing I think you'll find is that our tax base is growing here at an extraordinary rate. And my solution is, once again, to make sure that we get what we pay for in our education system. We fight these unfunded mandates that are driving up the cost of government. And I can only tell you this, because I don't have a magic solution, that I understand the problem and I understand how to attack the problem. And I will work with the members of the House and we'll get it done. Thanks.
Okay, question number 5. How often will you come to Walker County to keep the citizens informed on legislation and seek input from the citizens? Report how you have assisted this county.
To me?
Yes, sir.
Well, I live here. I'm easy to find. Most of you have my cell phone number, and you all know my wife, Kim. I come here all the time. This is my home. Over 40 years ago, I started a real estate business here, and I'm very proud of it. We've done great work. We've helped bring new jobs, new industry, new retailers such as Hobby Lobby. I'm very proud of the business that I've had here. My son Daniel is second generation working in the business, doing a great job. He's going to make his home with his 4 lovely boys, my grandsons. And I believe in this race, that's what you should consider. Ben Bias is here. He's one of us. He understands us. He's been here with us. He's paid taxes here, a lot of them. And I'm not that proud of that. But I am proud to be here, and I believe that I can represent you. And this is a great opportunity for Walker County to have its own representative, and will make a big difference for our community. Thank you.
Takes 32 minutes to get to Walker County, center of Huntsville, from the ranch. I've joined your chamber, been a part of your fair. Don't miss any event over here. In my old district, when you go to Austin, Texas, half the folks think I live in Marlin, Groesbeck, or West. Because And as I'm looking at my wife smile and giggle, you know, she's like a widow because we're gone all the time. Representative government only works if the representative is in your communities. You have relations. You build those relationships. Relationships with the school board, with the county commissioners, the judge, the municipalities, the police, the firemen, sheriff. It's what we do. It's what I've been able to do. It's why I've not had an opponent in 3 cycles, because of the relationships I've built and the time I've spent. I got elected, passed my first bill, really thought I knew what was going on in the legislature, and I get a call from an unknown number. Answered it against my better judgment, but God was talking to me. Rick Perry, Kyle's the governor, get to West. It blew up. Drive to West, an hour, spend the next 72 hours there in the same suit, realizing that a representative and his telephone and his relationship with the governor and his colleagues, we were able to rebuild that city in 3 years while the Bastrop fires were still devastating the county of Bastrop.
Question number 6, do you support the use of eminent domain for pipelines going through Walker County and the widening of I-45 through Huntsville?
Eminent domain is a part of the law, but it needs to be followed particularly. We have fought for private property rights since I've been in the legislature. Between Farm Bureau and Texas Southwestern Cattle Raisers and other land organizations, as a property owner and a landowner, eminent domain is one of the scariest 2 words you can hear. We've got to protect private property rights, but we also have to deal with a fast-growing world that we live in. When you come into Walker County, Grimes, and Washington out of Houston, Texas, 45, 290, the 290 and 1155 exchange at Chapel Hill, the Aggie Highway coming into Grimes County, those are tough decisions to be made, but that is a private property right of that landowner if he or she or that family chooses to sell. So the eminent domain process, we fixed that in legislation finally. It took us 3 bites at the apples in 3 sessions to finally protect landowners, a landowner's bill of rights that is focused on and give us a fair and bona fide offer and a seat at the table. They've got to have particular meetings that have to be called before any land sales, and your right has been protected due to the legislature and good rural representation with good groups like Texas Farm Bureau and Texas Southwestern Cattle Raisers. That's a lot.
Well, Kim, do you want to answer this? My wife and I both are part of an eminent domain taking for Interstate Highway 45. She's lost her business, and by the grace of God, she found another one on Lake Road. It's all worked out. And I lost my business and lost some land up here where Wisniewski is building now. I can tell you that the process needs improvement. It is ridiculous that the state of Texas can drag their feet and not settle these lawsuits and commence construction. It's one-sided. It's like fighting an 800-pound gorilla, and you're a little person. And I intend to make it more fair. It is a necessary part of government. I support growth and opportunity, and we're going to have a lot of discussions in the next few years during my service about the new interstate highway, how it comes through here, and how it goes through College Station. We get that question every time in College Station. I believe that if we do better planning and working with the new county judge, we can make these things work in our advantage and for our favor. We're going to have vision and foresight and planning, and I believe I'm uniquely qualified to do that. I am not thrilled with the current way that eminent domain occurs, nor with the speed at which the Attorney General deals with their cases. So that's my comment, and that's as far as I can go.
Go
glad you didn't say too much. Those cases are in my court, so.
Yeah,
I didn't want to have to call in a visiting judge. Okay, all right. Question number 7, Mr. Bass, we'll go back to you. With the migration of more people from metropolitan areas, such as from Houston to Walker County, what is your plan to help Walker County deal with all of these new members?
Well, there's one thing that's interesting. There's been 600 people registered to vote since the March 1st primary. That's a lot of folks. The growth in New Waverly, I was told yesterday while I was in New Waverly, there's 2,800 new homes planned there. That's bigger than Elkins Lake. That's going to fundamentally alter New Waverly. Now, Mr. Park, Mance Park told me, Ben, if you fail to plan, you're going to plan to fail. And so we have to plan. And I've worked with the county here recently on they want to create a subdivision ordinance that will more suitably regulate development and make sure that we get quality development and that everybody follows the same rules. That's very important. So I've been working with our county government to do that. I worked with the Washington County government here recently in talking about their ETJ agreement. Does everybody know what an ETJ is? That's where the city controls the land within its borders or just outside its borders. Currently, and it's on the Lieutenant Governor's agenda for the next session, well, we'll discuss the inequity of the ETJ. And I can tell you, I'm an expert on the ETJ. I'm looking forward to that. I think that cities and counties ought to have an agreement and it ought to be enforced, and whomever is the inspecting entity for public improvements, that should be respected, and the county and the city must have an agreement. Currently, ours is almost 30 years old here, but I intend to work with and be a big help to our county government, our city government, our schools, and so forth. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
600. I think that's light. You've got an incredible place to live and lots of people coming. I've spent time with the New Waverly mayor many times in meeting, watching that city grow and realize that they've got a lot on their hands. You've got so many developments. The good news is the Speaker of the House, I've spoken with Speaker Phelan, and infrastructure will be the key focus of this next legislative session, because we are 20 years behind on infrastructure. But you need to grow at a local pace, and your local officials. The good news, you've got a new judge opportunity. You've got an incredible commissioner's court. New Waverly is working hard to figure it out. They know they're behind, but you've got these people coming, and you're going to need the help of a seasoned, educated state representative that has the relationships to make this happen and happen quick. You don't have a 4, 5, 6, 8-year timeline. It's got to be immediate. The relationships with TCEQ, TxDOT, and all the other government agents are going to be paramount, that we get everything in place, our paperwork, our I's crossed and our I's dotted and our T's crossed, so that you can expand and deal with the growth at your pace and at your liking.
All right, and last, you will each have 3 minutes to answer this last question. You'll now have an opportunity to tell us in closing why you would be the best candidate for this position. Mr. Russo, we'll start with you.
One, thank you for taking your time to come out tonight. This election is a runoff election. You just had a special election on May 7th. People are confused. They're not engaged. They forgot they voted in March for their state rep. The good news is you've got a county judge race that's getting you motivated. You have an opportunity to elect 2 leaders to put Walker County in the forefront. I have had the privilege to serve in the state legislature for 5 terms. My wife, Marcy, is in the audience. I cannot thank her enough for her support. We've been married for 30 years, raised 2 kids in Central Texas, and this is the greatest place to live. Hence why so many people are moving here. The conservative record that we have amassed over the last 5 sessions with infrastructure, broadband, protecting our police, protecting private property rights. The list goes on and on and on. I met with some folks this morning at a breakfast chamber event in Brenham, and Charlie led off. Charlie, played like he had to get out of there. And he goes, look, you've got 30 seconds to sell me, and you've got to develop a relationship, and you've got to have trust. So I'm going to leave you with this. I have a proven record. You'll see me all the time. You can trust me. I'm ethical, and I have integrity, and I believe in the Lord above, and I walk every day to help you be better. I truly believe in public service, and this has nothing to do with me. I am just a man that God has called to serve, and I have been blessed to be put in that position by the people of House District 12, and I hope the new House District 12 gives me the opportunity to serve once again, and I'd be honored to have your vote. God bless, and have a great evening.
Well, I can't believe you attacked me for being more seasoned than you are. I'm older, and that's not fair. But anyway, that's a joke. I want to say, first thing I should answer is, why did I get into this race? I've been blessed, and I feel very fortunate to have a great family, a great town, a great life. And I looked at Texas, and I saw she was under attack. And I looked at our country, and our country is under attack. And I became, a year and a half or 2 years ago, I became very concerned and was reaching out to figure out, what can I do? What is my duty? I attended a men's Bible study at my church, and the message was, all of us need to be involved. We need to all run to the fight. I got a call and said, look at this district. I'm going, wow, that's a nice district. Brenham, Grimes County, Madisonville, Robertson County, Kyle's home. This is the finest district in the state of Texas. It's the cradle of Texas independence. So I went around and I asked Kim. She said, well, you don't really need a job. I said, well, you're right. But you go look and see if you can find somebody who would run. I went and met with Ben Lamont, who is the current state representative in Grimes and Washington County. And he is a very fine conservative gentleman, straight shooter. He endorsed me in this race. And I said, should I consider it? He said, I hope you will. I said, well, why don't you? I'll write you a check and I'll stay home. So I asked him, after looking at the record, I said, is this record really as liberal as it appears? The answer was yes. It's worse than you think. So we went and investigated it. Looked on KBTX. I don't want to go on about the record. You can look it up. It's all a fact, despite any assertions to the contrary. And so I got into this race because I believe that we can make Texas better. But most importantly, I believe that this is an opportunity for Walker County to seize its future. We haven't had an opportunity like this in 25 years, and we may not ever again. And what you decide will make a difference for these grandchildren and their children into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, this race is not about me, and it's not even really about him. It's about you. Seizing the future, standing for Texas, and making it better, and running to the fight. And so I'm asking you to join me in this run to the fight. And let's win this thing. As Texas goes, so goes our nation. And this district is not purple, it's not blue, it beats bright red. Thank you very much.
I thank you guys. Let's give these two gentlemen a great round, another great round of applause, please. When we wake up on May 25th, we will have a new state representative to swear in, regardless of which young man wins this fight. So congratulations to you both. Y'all fought hard and long, and I've been glad to get to know you both through this process. All right.